younger generation is primarily familiar with A Christmas Carol
Hmm.
through the Muppets.
Oh yeah.
So
I love that's my
yes,
favorite
light
actually.
the lamp, not the rat. Light the lamp, not the rat.
Light the ra- light the lamp, not the rat, not the rat, not the
Yes,
rat.
yes, yes.
Yes.
It's a beautiful. There's so many different versions of A Christmas Carol. It has been incredibly
Yes.
influential through the years, and there are many
Mhm.
different versions.
Hello and welcome virtually to the Baker Center for the Arts on the campus of Enterprise State Community College. We are so excited to welcome you as we get ready for the most magical and meaningful performance of our Christmas season. Today's interview takes us back nearly 200 years in time to a long, cold Christmas Eve in London when one man sat down with an empty page and a ticking clock and unknowingly created one of the most famous Christmas stories the world has ever known. Our guests bring the night to life in a truly unique way. We are honored to welcome the creative duo behind The Night Before Christmas Carol. Please welcome the man who steps into the shoes and the mind of Charles Dickens himself, David Brunnen, and the woman who helped shape the story into the powerful production you'll soon experience, Serena Ebhardt. David and Serena, thank you so much for being with us today. We are thrilled to welcome you to Enterprise, even if it is just virtually for now. We are expecting 1,500 students and hundreds of community members to experience the show here at the Baker Center. The school performances are going to be December 11th and 12th. They're going to come during the day. This is for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in our the Wiregrass community. And our public performance is going to be Friday evening, December 12th at 6 p.m. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Oh, we're thrilled, and we can't wait to get to Enterprise. We're just thrilled. It's always exciting to be in a new venue. I think this is the first time in Enterprise.
Yeah.
I just can't remember which venues we've been to, but
Yeah.
we're very excited about it, particularly during the holidays. This is one of our signature pieces that we've had for
28
yeah,
years.
28
This will be
years.
our 28th season of doing this.
Well,
Um,
it is excellent.
our holiday.
Yeah. Well, and we're so excited. We've also already sent on kind of those educational resources for our students that are going to be coming. So hopefully they're going to be a little prepped before they come. So we'll get to maybe there'll be a test at the end. We'll see, right? So I do have a couple of questions for you guys. So first, for David, you're playing Charles Dickens on the very night before A Christmas Carol is written. What is it like to play someone who's standing right on the edge of changing literary history?
Well, I'll start off by saying that a lot of the fun in this is generated out of the wit of Eliot Ingle, who actually wrote the piece. It was originated. The role was actually originated by a gentleman, Geoffrey West, who is an actor and director, and it was originated as a collaboration with Eliot in the early 1990s. And then Jeffrey had moved on from the role, and after a few discussions with Eliot and Jeffrey, then I took it on, right? Uh,
Hmm.
and then we started to tour it. But what became apparent to me I was third choice to actually do this role, right? And I wasn't
Hmm.
even do it. I've done several Dickens roles over
Hmm.
my career, Nicholas Nickleby, a few others, but I wasn't looking to do this. And then my name was suggested. I was third choice, and we took it on to a festival, a Dickens festival in Cape May, New Jersey. Well, out of that performance, we got several offers. And then we had further discussions with Jeffrey and Elliot about taking it on. We started touring it. And I started to, as one actress, an actress by the name of Quinn Hawksworth said, it fit me like a glove. It fit me like a glove. And then Serena took on various aspects of directing it and then helmed the production that we currently have for the last couple of decades. But what's really beautiful, the reason I gave you that background is because
Hmm.
it's writing, along with, yes, it is Charles Dickens, but it's also Eliot's writing and his wit, his signature wit, so fun. And what Serena and Eliot and now Charles Dickens himself have allowed me to create is discovering the piece making discoveries about how how A Christmas Carol itself, I'm sorry, Christmas Carol itself was created, because Charles Dickens really created his work in his study, playing parts. This is historically accurate. Playing the parts as he created in his study, and that's what the people are going to see in the audiences. The students, the audiences are going to see Charles Dickens actually discovering this as he proceeds. Now, keep in mind, the play starts in mid-October. I'm sorry, in late October, because that's when he realized that he needed something to actually generate revenue and to be in time for the holiday deadline, okay, for the holiday sales, okay?
Right.
So he had approximately about 6 weeks to create this. So Charles Dickens was already a very energetic, vibrant individual, but he would often take long periods of time in his study doing this. And to finally answer your question, the joy out of doing this piece and what it's like to actually portray someone is to recognize that this is a combination of Serena Ebhardt's direction, allowing me to discover, feeding off Eliot Ingalls and Charles Dickens' beautiful writing and wit to discover it even further. And each individual performance with new audiences is a new discovery unto itself, because we're discovering it together.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's so cool. I love this idea of like really getting into inside his mind and how that worked, and acting out as you go. And I think it's just going to be so entertaining and fun for the kids and for the adults that are going to be coming as well. But it's just such a different perspective. So I think it's excellent. So Serena, most people see Dickens' story after it's finished, right? But you chose to tell it and direct it before it was written. So what drew you to that moment in his life?
I think as artists ourselves, we're very drawn to the idea of showing audiences what goes into the creative process. There's a lot of mistakes that are made. You'll see Dickens write something and go, oh no, that's terrible. And he files it for later, or come up with an idea that he doesn't actually use in A Christmas Carol, but may use later in another book. I'm also interested in the fact that Dickens fancied himself an actor as much as a writer. We think of him as a writer. I mean, he's a literary great, but he actually went on stages across England, across America, performing it himself and doing lectures. He loved to be in front of an audience. There's sort of a manicness about the creative process that he And he had a big personal life too. I mean, he had 4 children and a wife and a father that expected Charles Dickens to pay his bills. You know, he had all this stuff going on that fed his writing. And that's a glimpse of what you get to see as artists. We're not always just purely working on our art. We're drawing things from our real lives into our art, because it's a balance for us. It's an outlet. So I was very interested in the idea that we were showing him in the creative process with day-to-day struggles feeding his work.
Yeah, that's excellent. I love this idea. I'm a visual artist by trade as well, and so it can be pretty manic at times. Of course, sometimes the ups and the downs, you know. But it is incredible how the challenges too of that creative process and how it actually pushes your boundaries, and then you discover something, you know, that you didn't expect. And I tell a lot of my visual art students when I've taught classes and things, I'm like, you got to wait for that click to happen, you know. So obviously maybe that procrastination kind of helped Charles Dickens as well. Sometimes that can be the best inspiration.
Deadline will do wonders.
Yeah, absolutely. So David, the audience sees one actor on stage, but feels the whole world. How do you shift so quickly between storytelling, imagination, and emotion all by yourself? Because it's a pretty manic type performance, right? There's just a lot going on.
And there are some folks who write, there's some scholars who believe now that perhaps Dickens was indeed manic depressive or bipolar.
We would call it.
So there are some beliefs that are being shared about that. But again, I would say the most important thing under Serena's direction, and particularly, again, you're going to hear me say this a lot, and so forgive me, but again, with Eliot's writing and Charles Dickens' writing, it's kind of easy to do it. A lot of people accuse Charles Dickens, or a lot of critics, I said it then at the time that he was alive, and they say it now, that he was melodramatic, overly dramatic, but he lived at a very intense level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the most important things to do, and particularly with the audiences, each audience being different, is to do it as genuinely and authentically as possible. As long as it's authentic, it's pretty easy to shift from one character to another. And I'm thinking about it now. It's going happening in my mind. Certain places in the scene, there's scenes with the kindly and portly gentleman and Ebenezer Scrooge. There's the Cratchit family. A lot of different characters happen at the same time. But Serena has ensured, and I think, again, Eliot's writing and Dickens' writing have ensured that it's done authentically. So I share that simply because there are a lot of people who say that he's overly dramatic or melodramatic. But I actually find Charles Dickens' writing and Eliot's writing and Serena's direction to be quite genuine. And so it's rather easy to fluidly transition from one character to another.
Oh, that's so cool. Because we're so used to, I think, especially like audiences that maybe haven't seen a lot of like one-man shows. You know what I mean? You can have kind of expectations for that, but it sounds like it's going to be very, very entertaining. So, and switching, yes,
we're pretty confident that we'll. We just did for about, I guess it was about 1,200 students. Maybe a little more, similar here, over the last week up here in the northern part of the state. And you can tell by the questions that occur afterwards that they tuned right on in, and they were with us every breath.
A lot of the younger generation is primarily familiar with A Christmas Carol through the Muppets.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's my favorite, actually.
Light the lamp, not the rat. Light the lamp, not the rat.
Light the lamp, not the rat, not the rat.
Yes. It's a beautiful, there's so many different versions of A Christmas Carol. It has been incredibly influential through the years, and there are many different versions. But the younger set knows the Muppet Christmas Carol, and so it's fun to watch them then connect and say, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
This was actually something else 200 years ago.
Absolutely.
So we love making that connection to literature and to history and, giving due to the people that have gone before.
Yeah, that is so funny because it's a holiday tradition. We watch A Muppet Christmas Carol every year, and we love it.
You mentioned the first question you mentioned, and it occurs to me now that we're talking about it, is that a lot of folks don't realize, and particularly some of the younger generations, and it comes up in our post-show discussions, which I'm sure it will come up in the conversations we have with the students, is that Charles Dickens is responsible, or yes, he is responsible because he encouraged a lot of the holiday traditions that we have now. Particularly the encouragement of it being a joyous holiday, the desire and the encouragement of sharing gifts, sharing a heightened spirit, heightenedness to sharing with one another.
Personal transformation over a child who is in need.
Yeah.
Exactly. Personal transformation is a great way to put it. And even the notion of how we read and watch. Obviously, that technology did not exist there, but how we our television and our film and our streaming.
He invented the concept of series.
Yeah.
He would release chapters of his books in a series, not all at once. So people were chomping at the bit to get the next installment. And that is Dickens. We're
Oh,
like
wow.
now about our TV shows and our streaming shows. That is Dickens'
Yeah,
invention.
And yeah, I certainly didn't know that when I
I
started.
didn't know that either.
I had no idea until I started to take this role on, and
Yeah.
it's remarkable and humbling to be able to discover those things as a person, as an individual, and not only as an actor.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, Serena, what part of Charles Dickens surprised you the most while developing this piece?
Um, I think how much of himself he put into his writing, his own observations. He grew up in a very difficult situation. His parents were sent to debtor's prison. He had to go and pawn a number of his parents' items because his
Mhm.
father believed that if a child went to the pawn shop, they would get more money. There were all kinds of personal, what you might say, difficult circumstances that he turned to use. He
Mhm.
applied some imagination, and he was a great study of character. If you read any of his other novels, you will just see people that you already know in his novels, because he really had an ability to catch nuance.
Mhm.
And he he just, I think, had a tremendous gift for language.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say he and Shakespeare really, really did a great deal for Western literature.
Yeah, yeah. Well, David, do you think Dickens knew that night that he was writing something extraordinary? Or, well, over those 6 weeks?
So,
Um,
so what we see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh yeah, no. Or was he just trying to kind of make the deadline?
All of the above, all of the above, but
Yeah.
also he also had his own self-doubt, of course, shaped
Oh
by
yeah.
much of his childhood. But uh, we allude to this briefly in the play itself, but he was coming off of some pretty hefty success with his
Hmm.
most recent books. He had already written Oliver Twist. He had written Pickwick Papers, and that's what started the whole serial type releases of his work,
Hmm.
periodic releases. But so he had great success, but he was just coming off his first failure, his first major writing failure. So he was full of self doubt. So I would say there's a mix.
Hmm.
It is known that he had a pretty established ego, but also some of that intensive energy, of course. So I don't think any writer, I don't think any artist can ever really know what they were
Oh yeah.
creating.
Hmm.
But um, but I say both because yes, he was under that intense pressure that he had to get something out in time to make sure that there was revenue that was going to be coming in by the end of the year, because the family needed revenue. He had all the kids and the other things, and he knew he had that pressure. So it was a mix of commercial and monetary need, and also
Yeah.
creative need. Um, but I don't think he necessarily knew that
Hmm.
this was going to be a success. It was an immediate success, and
Wow.
it's gone into many different versions, translations, what have you,
Mhm.
and editions. But it was an immediate success.
Yeah, and I think I would imagine, I mean, it'd be hard to find somebody that doesn't know about A Christmas Carol, in one of its many forms. So it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's really, really cool. This show is beautifully funny, but also deeply moving. So, what do you hope audiences, especially our students, walk away feeling?
You want to jump in, or you?
I'll say that we want them to know that it's important to live to your better angels.
Hmm.
Uh, Scrooge has choices, and sometimes it's not his. He has, all the elements of his life put together, and he begins to realize as he gets older that it's more than just about money.
Mhm.
And whether that's because he's scared into it by ghosts, or whether he just has an epiphany of some kind, it the world is more about is about choices. and making the choice of your better angel often brings greater joy. And so I hope people leave understanding that when we give, when we are generous to others, we get a joy that no money can buy. Yeah, I know life is a balance.
Yeah.
And life is a balance, and money is good, but it is not everything. And so I hope people have a thought back on the things that they can change. We can never truly be reborn or truly erase our pasts, but we can choose better the next time we're faced with dilemmas and concerns.
Yeah.
So that's what I hope people leave with is living to their better angels.
Yeah. Well, and it's never too late to, and I mean, that's very, very true, as shown in this story. So,
Jessica, this question comes up, indirectly, and the spirit of the question came up last week with the students, and very much like Serena said, yes, there's a lot to take from this piece. Yes, acknowledge self-failure, mistake, falling on one's face. Yes, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of different moments for that, and the triumph of redemption and transformation, and allowing ourselves to be open to that and be open to the discovery individually and collectively. Yes, there is that in this piece. But this came up almost every single post-show discussion, and that is to I think what Eliot does so beautifully in this, along with Dickens, of course, but and yes, Serena's direction. But what Eliot does so beautiful in this is that he allows us to start to recognize the values of empathy and gratitude. And in our current in the current rhetoric that we see in the times in which we live, and the cultural dynamics in which we live, sometimes empathy is viewed as a weakness. And I was raised in a household, and I think this particular piece, The Night Before Christmas Carol, celebrates the power of empathy and walking in another's shoes, and but truly opens one up to the possibility of gratitude and the potential of gratitude. So empathy and gratitude are two qualities that I think I feel pretty confident that people will leave when they walk out the door after this performance.
And I'd just like to express this is not a religious story. Yes, we have sort of the rebirth and redemption of Scrooge, but not once do we mention the Christian story as we know it with the birth of Jesus Christ, and yet it is extremely Christian. So what I want to tell your audience is you do not have to be religious or believe in a certain set of ideas spiritually to appreciate this show. It is the human journey. It is the idea that we can always start again and again live to our highest possibilities. So while it is a Christmas carol, it's a song of praise. It's a song of praise, which is what the word carol represents.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, okay. Well, we have a little quick fire round.
All right.
This is going to be.
Well, I'll do my best to be succinct as
Would
possible.
you like us to answer at the same time, or take questions?
Or
Back and
we'll have an imaginary timer here.
Yeah, hit the buzzer.
And if we speak at the same time, then we speak at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, so this is a quick fire. This is Dickens and plus Christmas round. Okay. All right. So first one, Charles Dickens today. Would he be a TikTok star or a podcast host?
Both. All of the above.
I agree.
I mean, that's the kind of guy. He would embrace all of it probably.
He would be on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, and
Yes.
he'd be doing all the things.
But he would do it in a way that because of his childhood, Yeah, you see, already we're off of the quick fire. But because of his childhood and the experiences, the pain and poverty that he experienced, he would be very focused in ensure that it was humanistic, very human oriented and human focused. And he would use the technology to focus on human endeavor and human behavior.
But he would definitely
Yeah.
be an influencer.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
without a doubt.
for sure. Okay, hot cocoa or mulled cider?
Hot cocoa.
Both.
This guy, he just can't decide.
I'm an all of the above. I'm not an either or kind of guy.
Yeah, right.
But okay, if I have to, the mulled cider. But you know what? Both.
Yeah, right. All right, what is the best Christmas smell?
A Christmas fir tree. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Spiced cider. Now that we're all sorry, the spiced cider. That my sister, my sister heats creates a holiday cider each time for each holiday. And so I remember that smell vividly because my parents did it too. So that tradition continues. That's one smell that's familiar.
Oh, yeah. Okay, would Dickens be a morning writer or a midnight writer?
Midnight writer.
All of the above. All of the above. Well, because he would like some writers, rather intense. He would continue on until the time when he was exhausted and finished. So it would be both the midnight rider and midnight rider.
So let's
the
just
midnight
say this.
and the overnight and in the morning as well.
3 a.m. both morning and midnight. So yeah.
He just keep going, you know.
Yeah. Until it's done.
I don't think I've done it either or yet. All of the above.
All right. If Scrooge existed today, what would drive him crazy?
Governmental deficit. Any kind of deficit.
Right.
Yeah, it would probably.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I think you have to decide. Okay, is it the Scrooge before he becomes more open and generous and redeemed, or is it the one afterwards? I'd say the one before. The one before and after, probably the deficit. Anyone who personally, professionally, or publicly in the government sector runs a deficit, but. Redemptive, the Scrooge that has been redeemed, I think he would perhaps have a little impatience, understanding, and awareness, but also perhaps a little impatience to say to those who can't be open and aware of what it is to be openly, genuinely generous in spirit to someone, to probably say, hey, chill and open up.
Right.
Relax and enjoy the moment. Be present with your fellow man, fellow man.
Hey, and if he could figure it out, anybody can figure it out, right? All right. Okay, so I think we've kind of covered this, but if your audience can be left believing one thing after seeing this show, what would you want that to be?
Well, again, yeah, we did cover it, but it bears repeating because it's important. The true power of empathy and gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, David and Serena, thank you so much for sharing your time with us and your talent this coming week and weekend. And you've given us a reminder that even the most famous stories once began quietly with one tired person, one empty page, and one long night. So, friends, if you have ever loved A Christmas Carol, this is going to be the show to see. You get the inside look into kind of the behind the scenes, if you will. So we are just so thrilled to have you guys. And thank you for being with us today. And we'll see you this weekend.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it.
Thanks for having us. We look forward to it. We're going to have fun and enterprise, all of us.
And Merry Christmas.
Awesome. Thank you.